an engaging and moral story for children. The Secret of the Ring and the Flute. Written by Mukhtar Ahmad. To listen to more captivating stories like this one, please subscribe to our channel. If you enjoy these stories, don't forget to like and share them, and be sure to hit the bell icon, so you never miss an update on our latest videos. The Secret of the Ring and the Flute. A long time ago, in a certain city, there lived two friends. One was named Adnan, the son of a merchant, and the other was Mani, whose father was the city's police chief. Adnan often helped his father with business matters, while Mani was learning the art of swordsmanship in hopes of joining the royal army and serving his country. Usually, Adnan would travel with his father to help sell goods, but one day, when they were about to set off on a journey, his father fell ill. He was so weak that he needed rest. Adnan decided that this time, he would travel alone to sell the merchandise. When Mani heard about Adnan's plan, he decided to join him on the adventure. Their families were worried about the journey, as dangerous robbers had been plundering travelers passing through deserted areas. These robbers would attack caravans and, if anyone resisted, they would kill them. Despite the warnings, the two friends assured their families that they would be careful and set off on their journey. Fortunately, their trip went smoothly, and they reached the country where Adnan had to sell his goods. Within a few days, Adnan had sold everything and made a good profit. With their task accomplished, the friends prepared to return home, buying many gifts for their families as well. Adnan's horse was carrying 2 leather bags filled with gold coins from the sales. Mani, too, had a few 100 coins he had brought for the journey, and his horse was also loaded with gifts and other items. After traveling for 2 days and 1 night, they re-entered their own country. They were only a short distance from home when they noticed dust rising in the distance and heard the sound of galloping horses. Alarmed, they dismounted and exchanged worried glances. In no time, a group of horsemen surrounded them. The men looked like robbers, with gleaming swords in their hands. The leader, a large, fearsome man with a thick mustache, laughed loudly from his horse and said, "These boys look wealthy. Take everything they have. Kill them if they resist." Adnan and Mani were both skilled swordsmen, but they knew they couldn't fight so many robbers. Adnan spoke to the leader, "There are only 2 of us, and many of you. It wouldn't be wise for us to fight. Take our belongings, but let us go." The leader laughed again. At his signal, 2 of his men dismounted and moved toward their horses to seize the goods. Mani had a ring on his finger, and Adnan held a flute in his hand. As the robbers approached, Mani quickly slipped the ring off his finger, dropped it on the ground, and stepped on it. Adnan swiftly hid the flute in his pocket. Although the robbers were busy taking their belongings, the leader noticed their actions. He dismounted, pushed Mani aside, picked up the ring, and reached into Adnan's pocket to retrieve the flute. "Why were you hiding this ring and flute?" he asked suspiciously. Mani pleaded, "O leader, take all our wealth, but please return the ring and flute to us." The leader examined the ring and flute carefully. "This ring isn't gold, and there are no jewels on the flute. Why are you so desperate to keep these worthless items?" he asked. Mani looked at Adnan and replied, "There is a secret to this ring and flute. In the forest near the mountains, there is a tree that's thousands of years old. It's the biggest tree in the forest and stands near a lake. If someone stands under that tree, wears the ring, and plays the flute, something astonishing will happen." Hearing this, the leader's eyes gleamed. He remembered all the stories of magical objects and concluded that the ring and flute must be magical. He pocketed them, thinking to himself that he would visit the forest, stand under the tree, and discover the secret. The robbers finished loading the stolen goods onto their horses. The leader signaled his men to leave, and they sped away, leaving Adnan and Mani standing by their horses. Thankfully, the robbers hadn't taken their horses, or they would have struggled to get home. After the robbers left, Adnan sighed, "I don't like returning home empty-handed." "Don't worry," Mani reassured him. "Everything will be fine, God willing." The two friends mounted their horses and continued their journey home. When they arrived, they told their families about the robbery. Although their families were saddened by the loss, they were grateful that the two friends had returned unharmed. The next afternoon, the robber leader and his men arrived at the forest near the mountains. They gathered under the ancient tree by the lake. The leader was eager to uncover the secret of the ring and flute. He put the ring on his finger and began to play the flute. The sound of the flute was so sharp that the birds in the trees flew away in panic. The leader continued to play, while his men watched in fascination. Suddenly, soldiers appeared from behind the trees and bushes. They had been hiding there, waiting for the right moment. Mani's father, the city police chief, was with them. The soldiers surrounded the robbers with swords drawn. The robbers were taken by surprise and easily captured. Their weapons were confiscated, and they were arrested. At that moment, Adnan and Mani emerged from behind the bushes. The robbers were stunned to see the same two boys they had robbed the day before. Mani turned to the robber leader and said, "Didn't I tell you that if someone stands under this tree, wears the ring, and plays the flute, something amazing will happen? Are you surprised now?" Adnan smiled, and Mani continued, "We knew you would come here after hearing our story, so we had the soldiers hide in the bushes to catch you." Adnan looked at the leader and said, "When we left for our journey, we had already planned that if we encountered robbers, we would tell them the story of the ring and flute. That way, the soldiers could capture you. You've been terrorizing this area for too long, and now you will face the consequences. If you had worked honestly, you wouldn't be in this humiliating position." The robber leader hung his head in shame, realizing how easily Adnan and Mani had outwitted him. Mani's father praised the two friends. "We only managed to capture these dangerous robbers because of your clever plan. They had been causing misery to so many people. Now, they will meet their rightful end." Later, the robbers were tried and given long prison sentences. Adnan and Mani also recovered their gold and belongings. Thanks to their intelligence, the robbers were caught, and the people finally breathed a sigh of relief.